materials here from Tycon. So I'm going to explain what we're going to do right here with the Type R. So we built all the tips the same size because I didn't like the mismatched tips, and we made the tips 3.5, so they go from 3 to 3.5. Well, this is a cone that goes from 2 to 3, so this is going to go in the tip, and then this is our core material right here. It's a 2-inch core. One thing we've learned over the years is to look at what the factory does. They're pretty smart. They don't just build stuff so we can take it apart and improve it. They have put a lot of design into this. As you see, this is our muffled section, and as you see, this is 1.75 inches, so they're keeping this diameter small all the way through the muffler. And in here we jumped from 3 inch immediately to 2.5 through the muffler, and then over here we jumped to 3, which the larger diameter gives it a deeper tone. They've kept this diameter much smaller. Once we take this diffuser off, you'll see it, but this is the 2.5 inch section right here. It stays 2.5 until this section right here on the tip, where it opens up to 3. This is going to come from that 3 inch section right here. We have the 90. It's going to come into here, and then it's going to flare up to 3 inch. This is the 3 inch resonator right here. It's in the factory spot. We didn't put a resonator here. The factory one does have 2 resonators, but just to help with some of the tone, we're going to put another Tycon resonator right here. This is an 11 inch. It should fit in that section right there. And as you see, there is a lot of the heat proofing around that. So a few people have said, hey, this is going to be really restrictive and this is going to hurt it. Believe it or not, exhaust technology, you'd be surprised how well that works. Obviously, once it goes into boost, it's going to take this path anyway. But past experience, we've seen a few aftermarket exhaust on some of the supercars, and they will do this with no muffler, just a straight through, but use it to basically diffuse the air. More fixtures come in. We just got more from our good friend Jeff. We're pairing them to make sure we don't mix them up again. When I say we, when I don't mix them up again and send somebody in Hawaii 2 lefts, and then correct it with another left.
It was Hawaii, wasn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't have found somebody further away, but thank you for your patience. We will make it right. The exhaust tip here is 3 inch diameter, and then it flares up here to 3.5. The idea is to cut this right at this 3 inch point, so our new cone will go in there and basically blend up into this area right here. This is what we have right now. So this is how our tip looks if you was to look at a cross section. This is 3 inch. We're basically going to try and cut right here on this weld, so this section of the tip can be removed, and then this will fit in there. We're basically going to make something like this, basically like a washer out of titanium. So it needs to be 2.5 inch on the outside and 2 inch on the inside. I have some titanium sheet right here. It's 2 mil thick. We're going to basically build some washers out of this. I need something that diameter with a 2.5 inch outside. So I'm going to use a hole saw right here. If my calculations are correct, I want to try and make 4 washers here for our mufflers to basically decrease the diameter. Probably use our large one first. I'll cut through so I'm almost all the way through, and then switch to our smaller one and cut all the way through, and then I should be able to just break that center section out. Fingers crossed that works. Of getting the cores out through those holes with this stuff packed around it was pretty much impossible. Trying to drag it through that. So we've cut the end plates off, and we're thinking maybe make a new end plate with a right size hole in it in one go, then weld this back on here. Now these mufflers were about 5 inches longer, and this is all the packing from being this much. So we packed these way tighter than they probably are. As you see, it's pretty dense in there. And then this is wrapped around here really tightly, So trying to get that size through our hole saw was where we ran into the issues, I think. So we're going to put our smaller core in here, build a new end cap, weld that piece on here, run this back in here, then build new tips. Look underneath and see if this is still on there. If you don't take it off now, it'll end up being a permanent fixture on there. It starts to look pretty bad. It's to prevent scuffing on this plastic, but I'm willing to bet you look under your car, this is still there. I keep seeing these things all over the internet. Every ad is some dude one of these that violently waves his hand next to this light and it lights up and it's the best thing. We end up holding this in our mouth, which is probably not the most ideal light. It sounds kind of crazy, but I figured I would try this. Is the flash feature. I don't know why they insist on putting that into flashlights. I don't know who works on a car with the light flashing. It doesn't make any sense to me. Unless you're broke down on an island and then you need that flash feature. But 100% bright, 2.5 hours, 40% bright, 5 hours. This is what it looks like. If I like them, I might sell them, because if I find a solution and I think I like it, you'll probably like it too. So, has the little light on the side here, has the strip of lights across the front. I didn't read the instructions because there is none. I did what guys do. Press buttons and play with it until you figure it out. So this is your basic on-off. You press it once, press it again, it goes to 50%. Press it again, you get the little dude on the side. Now this is the wave function. I can't see now, that thing is so bright. This button here, you press that. Oh, look at that, that is trick. And then that just controls this light right here, which I gotta tell you is very bright. Let's go, let's get some demonstration. That's it, as quick as that, as you turn it on and off. That's pretty darn trick. I'm going to play with these and I'll do a future update on them and let you know if I like them. If they suck, I'll tell you to suck. It's funny, it's 7 AM, we don't have the big lights on in the shop. This is underneath an S2000. Let me kick on the light, see if you can see the difference. There you go, that's with the light on. And what I like about this thing is it has a big flood of light. It doesn't have that pointy light where it only lines up in one spot. You remember the old days where you used to point the flashlight and your dad used to tell you where to point it and you're wandering all over the place looking at stuff on the floor. This has a really broad light. I mean, all the way down to back there. I'm blocking it with my phone. Right there, you turn it off and you see how much light is expelled over there. So we got the exhaust back on. Now you see that is a dedicated 2-inch pipe that goes completely through the muffler, and it's 2-inch and it stays 2-inch right to the end of the exhaust tip. So that should keep that really drony low frequency tone away. And of course the inner pipe is 3-inch, so it's a straight through 3-inch. When that valve opens, we should have all the sound and all the air in the normal driving light throttle. So inside the car in comfort, which is valve closed, it's smoother sounding. It's definitely got a smoother tone. Then you put it to sport, it's deeper, got a growlier sound. Same in individual. There's the valve fully open. Back to comfort. It's Definitely smoother. Now rev it in comfort. We didn't end up using the extra resonator. I wanted to see if it was good enough without it, and the sound is definitely better. Actually, the first time we've put gas in this car, apart from that quick 5 gallons on the dyno. Let's get some gas. Me and Sebastian are going to do some driving.
Yeah.
You can do the filming. I'll do the driving, of course, because you're not quite old enough yet.
I'm not quite old enough now.
Another couple of years, you can do the driving. We've got 314 miles on it. So I've been playing with the exhaust because I want it to sound a certain way. I mentioned this in the past, I won't say it anymore, but these cars don't sound good. So I want it to sound a certain way when I'm on it, but when I'm cruising, I don't want to hear it because it doesn't sound good. When you're full throttle, it sounds pretty good. So in comfort mode right here, I think we're about 90% with this car. And again, I've only got 300 miles on it, but I know what I want. And if it doesn't sound right, I'm not really gonna drive it that much. So in comfort mode, it's not too bad. It's a little drony, but it's not too bad. I still might put that extra resonator on it. Putting it in sport right here, it's got more sound, but in the throttle, it sounds good. D-cell sounds a little bit funky. Put it back into comfort. It's nice and quiet. So I'm gonna drive around these little side roads here. I wanna get Sebastian to film. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see.
You can hold him. So of course you got to hear it from the outside, so let's get some outside clips. Sebastian is going to do the filming here. I'm going to do the burping up down the street and see what it sounds like. Traction control does a really good job. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
But the throttle hang is a little bothering. Once you get it rolling, it's not bad. GT4 was very engaging. Now, these are so many things that no one tells you about. They talk about specs on a car, and people will ask me, well, how does this car compare to the Corvette? How does it compare to the GT4? How does it compare to the NSX? They're all completely different cars, and they all drive different, and they all give you the feedback in a different way. But the thing that's important is you get the feel of the car where you enjoy it, whether it's a $200,000 car or a $45,000 car. It's how does it feel, how enjoying is it, and the feedback from the car, which is sometimes what I talk about with the exhaust. You want to get feedback. It's engaging. It's part of the experience of driving. Part of why you want a manual transmission. Might not be as fast as a dual clutch, but the dual clutch, you're not really doing anything. You're just pointing it and hitting the gas and the car does everything. Well, the progression from that would be to make the steering wheel fully automated, then the car would drive better. But you're no longer engaged. It's no longer a car. It's now a video game. So the engaging part of this car, the shifting, the brakes, the steering, it feels so much better than what you would expect. On paper, this car makes 315 horsepower. It's a lot less than some of the past cars, but it's fun. It's engaging, it's fun. It makes you feel like you want to continue to drive it, which is what a car is supposed to do. Hopefully you're getting some ideas from what I'm doing here. Now I know not everybody wants to spend $3 on materials and then 6 days welding it together and learning from it. I'm sharing it with you, so if you do this kind of thing, it gives you some ideas and some sound options. Most of the exhausts I've heard on the FK8, we've installed a bunch here. Most of them sound like crap. I don't like them at all. I like the old school Honda. This doesn't have an old school Honda sound, so it takes a little bit more work to make this work. The beauty of having the valve, we can eliminate where it doesn't sound good and put the full throttle boost sound in there, and that's where it sounds good. I do plan on modifying the factory exhaust, tweaking it, 20%. For those guys that don't want to go as extreme as this, they don't want to change the exhaust, they want just a little bit more, and they want that engaging sound from the exhaust. So that is coming up, and then possibly lower it. I'm still debating doing a full paint correction on this and maybe making a front mount, maybe tune it, who knows. For right now, we're going to our local hobby shop here. Sebastian is buying another Bronco for his collection. So we will see you on the next video. And as we always say, don't forget,
enjoy your cars.
There you go, buddy.